Hello and welcome to our third Facebook live chat. I'm Samantha Brown. I'm the marketing coordinator here at Stadler & Company, and this is Jordan. You want to introduce yourself and maybe give them a fun fact about yourself?
Sure. Once again, I'm Jordan Moran. I'm an enrolled agent. So if you need help with tax resolution, I'm certainly a guy that can help out. Fun fact about me, I've been a diehard Michael Jordan fan since I was like 5 years old.
And you can probably see we're actually in Jordan's office today, and you can see right there on the wall he's got a picture of him. So good fun fact. So today we are going to talk about liens, and I guess first we should explain what is a lien. What is a tax lien?
Sure. A lien is a government's legal claim against any property that you have, basically because you owe them money. You have taxes due to them.
Okay, so why would the IRS put a lien on someone's property?
Well, once again, the IRS will put a lien against any property that you have or any assets you have because you owe them money. You haven't settled your tax debt with them. Keep in mind this comes after any proposed amount due or anything there. So if you have a lien on any type of property, you have received a lot of correspondence from them, and you've had a lot of time to satisfy that debt in some way.
So this isn't the first thing that you hear from them?
No, you have heard from them multiple times, probably more than 15 times by mail.
Wow, 15 times.
Yes, so it's if it gets to that point, you've let it drag on way too long.
So will they get a notice or something in the mail saying that they have a lien on the property?
Yes, most likely they'll receive a notice, demand for payment. They'll give you some options there on how to satisfy it. They will give you a little bit of advice on how to appeal if you want to appeal. But once you get to that point, you definitely want to see an enrolled agent. You want to see someone who's dealt with this and has extensive experience in that.
I see Holly joined us. Thank you for joining us. Okay, so that sounds awful,
Right.
having a lien on your property. So obviously the next question is how can I avoid this? Because I don't want to get to that point.
Well, you can avoid it. I know this sounds repetitive. You can avoid it by paying your tax on time. I mean, if you settle your tax debt with the IRS or the state, keep in mind the state can place a lien as well, then you shouldn't have a problem with them. But it gets very tough if you get to that situation.
Okay, so once you have a lien, how do you get rid of it? So you've ignored the IRS, they sent you the letter,
Sure.
Now what?
You keep in mind, to get rid of that lien, you have to pay your tax in full. Okay, an installment agreement does not get rid of that lien. In particular, you'll see this happen when someone is trying to buy a home or sell a home. That home is not being sold until that lien is removed. And in most cases, the IRS is number one to get paid over anyone else.
Wow, so that really could put the
bricks
bricks on your plan.
Could put a big damper on it there.
Buy a house.
Unfortunately, that's whenever we get people that need help is whenever they're trying to sell a house and they have a lien, and they probably know they have the lien,
right,
but they've let it go and
then they have to deal with it.
Right.
I see that Julia joined us. Thanks for joining.
Thanks, Julia.
And it looks like Jared shared our video. Thank you. We really appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys have any questions, feel free to type them in the comments there. Darlinda joined us. Thanks for joining. Like I said, if you have any questions, just go ahead and type them in. If it's a private question that you don't want to share publicly, feel free to email Jordan directly. You want to give him your email?
Yeah, email address is Jordan, Jordan, @stadlertax.com.
And you can also just message us on the Facebook page as well. And
right. Maybe the website as well.
Yes, and you want to give them the website?
Yeah, website is www.stadlertax.com. So you can visit it there as well. Any method of contact is fine. If you prefer email, I like email better than anything there because I'm always at my desk.
Looks like Dylan joined us again.
Dylan,
thank you
back
for coming back.
Again.
Feel free to shoot any questions you have there in the comments. So back to liens. So you talked about how to get rid of one. We kind of talked a little bit about how having a lien would affect you. Do you want to kind of go into that a little bit more? We talked about it could stop you from buying or selling a house.
A lien definitely is, going to be troublesome for you there financially. If you go to the BMV and you're wanting to title your vehicles, you could have issues there. In the state, they're a lot different than the federal as far as liens go. Their process is a lot faster because they're a lot smaller. So when you're dealing with a state lien, it can get a lot nastier, a lot quicker. So just keep that in mind. If you're dealing with the state, any state, we deal a lot with the state of Indiana, obviously, because that's where we are. The state gives you about 10 days to pay, and their process is very fast. After that 10 days, they're sending things to the sheriff, and then they're sending things to Premier Credit, and you're dealing with them. And you're paying extra fees when you let it get to that point as well. So you're not just paying tax, you're paying penalty and interest on top of that.
So it definitely piles up fast.
Right. It can pile up very fast.
We have you said that bankruptcy doesn't stop it.
Right. Sometimes bankruptcy, dealing with the federal only there, bankruptcy with the federal side there, and you have taxes on there. Even after the bankruptcy is settled, you still may have a lien to deal with there. So it just depends on how muddy the water is there. Like I said, if it's something with a home there, the ones I've dealt with in that, they're not a short process. They're a very long process to get those resolved. And keep in mind the IRS wants their money first, and they almost always get their money first.
We have a question here from Darlinda. She says, how do you get a tax exemption number for starting a private business?
You can do, there's two different forms there, Darlinda, that you can file depending on which tax exempt organization you are. If you're a 501c3, you're filing a form 1023, which is very, very lengthy. More lengthy than the 1024, which covers basically all the other 501cs there. So it's a long process, but if that's something that you need help with there, Darlinda, we can certainly help you out. Good question.
All right.
Thanks.
Looks like Dylan has a question. Do I need to file taxes if I didn't make a lot of money since I work under the table?
Well, Dylan, that's a interesting question there. I'll be honest with you. If you're working under the table, I'm not sure I want to be your tax preparer there. But definitely any preparers, including me and any preparer at our office, are going to ask the appropriate questions there to determine if you're underreporting income, and also to make sure that you're reporting all of your income. Valid question, but not my ideal client.
Okay, Julia, are the state and federal liens the same?
State and federal liens are not the same. The state, like I said, the general idea is the same, but with the state of Indiana, their process is a lot quicker. And keep in mind, with Indiana in particular, they do not have settlement things like waiving penalty and interest. They don't have that option like the federal does there. So if you owe the state, mostly any state, and that balance is correct, you're going to pay them. There's no settling, there's no waiving penalties, there's no waiving interest. There's really no outside options other than paying them the money that you owe.
And
Unfortunately,
you could do an installment
Yeah,
agreement.
the one item they do have is an installment agreement. There's certain qualifications for that. They want a certain amount of money down. But as far as an offer and compromise selling for less than you owe, it's not happening with the state of Indiana.
So if someone promises that, then you know.
Right, yes. If someone's promising you they're eliminating
that.
Indiana tax debt, they're probably not telling you the truth.
It's good to keep in mind.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
So we talked about a lien. What is a levy? What's the difference between a lien and a levy?
Right. So a lien is, the IRS or state has a, governmental interest in an asset that you have, bank account, cars, boats, things like that. A levy means they basically are taking those assets, any of those types that we had mentioned, to satisfy their debt. So they are going into your bank account, they're going into your wages, and they're taking the money. So a levy, in my opinion, is a lot worse than a lien because they are not just attaching interest to your property, they are taking your property.
Wow.
So if you get there, you really need an enrolled agent's help for sure.
So is there anything they can do if they've already taken the property?
There are things you can do. I mean, it's not the end of the world that they've taken the money there. They do have to meet certain guidelines. They can't take all of your money out of your bank account. It's not legal. They have to leave you with a certain amount. But you definitely need an enrolled agent at that point. for sure.
That sounds like it would be a scary situation for sure.
Right, right. And some other negatives for, and you may go ahead and ask, but I'm not going to jump ahead till you're ready, so go ahead.
No, go ahead.
You know, a lien or levy affects you, you know, in a lot of ways. It hurts your credit. Like I said, it can attach to your business property, and it may continue even after bankruptcy. So bankruptcy doesn't mean it's a resolved issue at that point, even if it's final.
And if you joined us recently, feel free to comment. Hit the like button so that we know you're here and listening. Looks like Darlinda has another question. Would selling items on eBay, Craigslist, or any other social media site be taxable? That's a good question.
Yes, very good question. In particular, the IRS has been watching for those more, Darlinda. I believe the amount there, if you earn over $20,000 in gross sales on eBay or Craigslist or Cincy or any of those items there, the company is required to send you a tax form now, a 1099. So the IRS is flushing out those people that are not reporting that income. But to answer your question, Darlinda, that is taxable income. But that's self-employment, so you can also take expenses as well against the income.
So that would be if someone was doing it as a business, not necessarily I went online and sold some baby clothes.
Right. Yeah. Right. That's not a trade or business. The IRS doesn't consider that a trade or business. So at that point, you paid something for the items. So in general, you will not have to report those type of things. But if you're operating as a business, and the key word is it a trade or business? Are you spending a certain amount of time on this and effort and money to where you're an actual business? Then it would be a taxable event.
It looks like Allison joined us. Thanks for joining. If you have any questions, feel free to write them in the comments there, and Jordan will answer them for you.
Sure.
So we've definitely covered a
lot
today.
Getting a little more technical now as we go. Next week may even be a little more technical there, but keep submitting questions. You know, keep liking, keep commenting, sharing, tell your friends if you know anyone that has a tax issue there, to not be embarrassed. We're very confidential with your information. We're not going to share anything there. We're 100% here to help.
Oh, Josh has joined us, and he has a question. If you are selling your own stuff, like a yard sale, then not taxable. If buying items to resell, then taxable. Oh, is it? Josh is one of our EAs here, and he just was clarifying for us.
Great.
So yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because I know there's a lot of people now that are doing things, selling things on Craigslist and Facebook.
Yeah, and not to get too sidetracked from what the topic's about, but the state of Indiana is trying to get people that are having yard sales to collect sales tax.
Wow.
So you got to watch out for that too. If you have a yard sale there, you may be you might get a little letter from the state there. Not sure how they figure it out, but they're looking for that. So
that sounds pretty complicated for a yard sale.
Yeah.
Lindsay has joined us. Hi, Lindsay. If you have any questions, feel free to type them there in the comments. Mm-hmm. So we will give everybody a few more minutes in case there's any late questions. Do you want to give them your email address again in case they have questions they want to email you?
If you just joined, once again, my email is Jordan, Jordan, @stadlertax.com. Website is www.stadlertax.com. And phone number for you, like the old-fashioned way there of calling, phone number 812-478-2800. We are here Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Okay, Darlinda has another question. So if you are already on Social Security, over 66 years old, and want to start your own business via social media, how would you do that? How would that work?
Darlinda, you can definitely set up a business there. If you're in a situation there where your only income is from Social Security, then you are not required to file. Okay, you may qualify for a state credit there. But what you want to be aware of is if you're earning a certain amount of money there, some of that Social Security can become taxable on the return. So you're not really different than anybody else there, Darlinda, in that regard. You just have to watch out for the taxability of that Social Security if it becomes high enough as far as that goes.
So probably a good time to see an enrolled agent.
Yeah, and just get some advice, right? You can come in and if it's a short consultation there, we don't even charge. We want to get your business, show that we're we're here to just help, not just get your money. But yeah, that may be a question there, in person, Darlinda. But good question.
Can get pretty technical.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, we are going to wrap things up if there's not any other questions. Lindsay has one.
Lindsay's got a question.
If I sell items to a resale store and they print off a check and details on amount earned, do I need to save those detail slips and bring it in next year when I file my taxes?
I would say yes. Any documentation, receipt, invoice, estimate, I'm never going to tell you to throw that away. Definitely bring it in, and we'll determine if there's anything you need to do on the tax return, Lindsay.
Better to be safe than sorry.
Safe and sorry, right.
That's a good question.
That's a very good question.
Probably the same thing goes for if you're donating items. Should you ask for a slip if you're donating items?
Yeah. If you don't have a receipt to the IRS, you didn't give it. So you can give $10,000, to the church or Goodwill without a receipt. You didn't do it.
So definitely good to get those slips.
Mm-hmm.
So next week we will just talk more about tax resolution and what to bring to an appointment.
Right. Yep.
And we will address any other
questions?
questions. Be sure to join us again, same time, same